Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've been thinking for a while about making a longer video to show you how things really work in our mind, how we handle dangerous situations, how we approach the job in tough conditions, and what happens when things get out of control. So stick around till the end because this one's going to be pretty interesting. Oh yeah, likes and subs are always welcome. So, first clip for today, well, I don't know. You decide who's at fault and drop it down in the comments. And this is the total damage. Broken rear lights, the left brake light, radiator grille, and rear body panels, which I believe can be repaired fairly easily. What cannot be repaired, however, is the stress and trauma experienced by the loader operator. According to the report, the truck driver didn't see the loader because it was in his blind spot, while the loader operator tried calling him over the radio, but wasn't heard, making the collision unavoidable. The loader operator also stated that he began reversing out of fear the truck might push him straight into the crusher. An even worse outcome could have been if the truck had rolled right over the loader. Either way, no one was injured, and that's the most important thing. So, let this be a reminder that in a matter of seconds, a disaster can happen when concentration is lost. Yeah, another case of lack of concentration, or maybe not. Either way, this beautiful excavator took a serious hit, and with a lot of force. The lower left corner under the cab was literally smashed from the sheer impact. It all happened when a boulder the size of an excavator bucket broke loose and came crashing down on the machine. The damage is significant, but luckily it didn't affect the excavator's functionality. Sometimes things just happen, no matter how focused or experienced you are, and when they do, all you can do is pray you walk away unharmed. Man, I hate these kinds of situations. We spent the whole night fighting rain and mud. Trucks could barely move, slipping all over the place like they were driving on ice. Total mess. Just when I thought we had it under control, toward the end of the night shift, the rain kicked in again. I was like, oh, great. This was the second to last truck that somehow made it to the parking lot. But the real headache came with the last one. Empty, no traction, struggling hard, as you can see here. Anyway, you can watch the full video at the link in the top right corner. Same climb a few months later, and this is how experience is built. Pretty crazy, right? Did you notice the rear wheels turning the opposite way? If anyone knows why that happens, drop it down in the comments. I'd really love to know. Right now we're at the storage yard holding the blades for Serbia's largest wind farm, known as the Black Peak Wind Power Project. This massive onshore project is located near the city of Bor in eastern Serbia. With a total installed capacity of 150 megawatts, it will feature 25 Mingyang 6.25 megawatt turbines, each mounted on 115-meter towers. Each blade is about 280 feet long, almost the size of a football or soccer field, and weighs around 32 metric tons, which is roughly 70,500 pounds. Situated in high mountain terrain with average wind speeds of 7.4 meters per second at hub height, Black Peak is expected to generate approximately 465 gigawatt hours of electricity per year, enough to power over 100,000 Serbian households. Beyond powering homes, the project supports Serbia's broader decarbonization goals, enhances green energy infrastructure, and sets a new standard for technical expertise in challenging mountainous terrains, while also strengthening the country's ability to export clean power. This massive project, of great importance for the region, began in 2023, with full commercial operations targeted for 2025, positioning it as a flagship in Serbia's renewable energy transition. However, with only 4 months left until the end of 2025, and so many blades still sitting here in storage, I seriously doubt it will be completed on time. Either way, we'll be keeping a close eye on this project. But just look at these blades. They look almost unreal lined up like this. To me, they look like rockets on a launch pad waiting to be launched. An amazing sight, almost like something out of a video game. And this reminds me of some German artillery from World War II. If you know which one I'm talking about, drop it down in the comments. Jesus, this looks incredible. One of them is already mounted on a trailer, waiting for transport. I think this man truck is about to face a real challenge. But before transporting these massive blades, every piece of equipment has to be checked. Brakes, steering, trailer drive axles. Everything has to be perfect before moving through the city. And that's what really interests me. How the hell are they going to get this abnormal load through the city? Well, we'll find out in just a few days, and I'll do my best to capture that epic moment. Now, some really satisfying footage. This is the stuff I love doing the most. If you guys like this kind of stuff, there's a whole compilation waiting for you up in the top right corner. What you're seeing right now isn't exactly so satisfying to watch. And let's head down and see what actually happened. Well, just like I said at the beginning of the video, a little lack of focus and disaster can happen real fast. This Ranger could have ended up much worse if it hadn't been for the workers nearby, yelling and waving at the operator to stop. According to him, the dozer operator was moving forward to make room for a haul truck to pass. But he said he didn't see the pickup because of the big blade and drove straight into it. The truck was parked inside the dozer's working zone, with no lights or signals since it was shut off, and the flag just couldn't be seen from the cab. So, what do you guys think? Whose fault was it? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Rocks like these can cause serious trouble for drivers, and a lot of damage to the trucks. It's already happened several times that tires got blown out because of the rocks left on the road. And the best machine for clearing them is right here, the Caterpillar 18M3 motor grader. This beast comes equipped with a massive mold board blade that's 18 feet or 5.5 meters long, powered by a Cat C 13 ACERT engine, delivering up to 308 horsepower. Weighing in at around 71,000 pounds or 32 metric tons, the 18M3 is built for heavy-duty road work in mines and large construction sites. It's designed for precision grading, road maintenance, slope cutting, ditching, and clearing obstacles like these boulders to keep haul roads safe and trucks moving. Oh, by the way, you can watch the full version of this satisfying video at the link in the top right corner. Don't miss it. For now, I'll leave you guys to enjoy this satisfying work for a bit. What you're looking at right now used to be a riverbed, a river that often swelled up and caused problems in the mine. Some of you may have seen the video I posted about 2 months ago, showing how that same river overflowed and clogged the collector, forcing the water to flow back and threatening to flood a nearby village. The company's management then decided to divert the river straight into the pit, creating a disaster of epic proportions. You can check out that awesome video at the link in the top right corner. Hard to believe that such a small river could cause a disaster on such a massive scale. And this is all that's left of it now, a small puddle that will evaporate in just a few days. The company decided to reroute the river through concrete pipes to make room for the mine's expansion. And that river used to be the only bright spot in the pit, but now that it no longer flows through here, the landscape has changed forever. But I can't help but wonder, what happens the next time heavy rains come and the river swells? And now it's been forced into concrete pipes. That's going to be interesting. But let's head down there to that excavator and see what's going on. Well, pretty interesting. Here we see a cross-section of the riverbed showing layers of mud that have built up over decades. Beneath those layers, you can spot solid rock. And within the mud, you can also see all kinds of debris the river carried along. Let's take a little walk along that wall. And this is the old bridge that once connected two nearby villages before the mine was built. When the mine opened, the road between the villages was cut off and the bridge was repurposed for mining use. But as the mine expanded, the bridge lost its purpose and was gradually buried under layers of mud carried in by the river over the years. Now we can see what's left. It looks almost like a cake sliced in half, still sitting in its tray. Now what I'm holding in my hand is a piece of rock taken from beneath the riverbed. You can see it's sharp, rich in pyrite and limestone, and now we'll compare it with a very different type of rock. Well, here are rocks shaped by water for maybe centuries, and next to them on the left, a piece broken off from solid bedrock that's been underground for millions of years. Just an amazing comparison. And once again, we can see layers of mud, clay, and all kinds of debris that have been settling and collecting here for decades, even centuries. What's fascinating is that this very landscape, a few million years from now, will turn into rock. The sediments we're looking at now were just mud millions of years ago. Dozens of layers that hardened over time. As the mountains shifted, so did these layers, leaving us with this beautiful facade on these high walls. And for the next 3 minutes, sit back and enjoy these Komatsu machines doing their job so satisfyingly, loading a 220-ton capacity Balaz truck with overburden with ease, and a grader that just happened to slip into the frame, smoothly leveling the road. from loading overburden to dumping rich ore into the crusher, rich and dusty ore. For the next few minutes, we'll be watching your favorite part of the video. I know most of you really enjoy seeing the ore crushing process, so let's go over some of the key specs. The type of crusher you're about to see in action is a giant Allis-Chalmers gyratory crusher. With a capacity of up to 3,000 tons of ore per hour, it's considered one of the largest in the world. Yeah, I know, the facility is full of dust, and it honestly feels like walking through a desert. The entire crusher facility gets cleaned twice a month, but the ore itself is so dusty that every time it's dumped into the crusher, huge clouds spread everywhere. And of course, the company can't just shut the crusher down twice a week for cleaning. Anyway, let's get back to the best part, that moment when the ore gets dumped into the crusher. When dumping into the crusher, the truck driver has to follow the traffic light signal given by the crusher operator. Because of the heavy dust, the operator can't see if there are oversized rocks in the dump body that could jam the crusher. That's why he signals the driver to stop dumping, let the dust settle, and then continue the unload. And yeah, my lungs pretty much turned to concrete, so no more crusher videos for a while, at least until I can breathe again. So, like I said, this is an Allis-Chalmers gyratory crusher. This type of crusher is designed for primary crushing of massive quantities of ore. Built by Allis-Chalmers, it's one of the giants of the mining world, capable of handling capacities up to around 3,000 tons per hour, depending on the model and material. It works as a gyratory crusher, meaning a large conical crushing head rotates inside a stationary concave surface, breaking down big chunks of rock into smaller, more manageable pieces. These machines are absolutely massive, with some units weighing in at hundreds of tons. Because of their size and efficiency, they're commonly used in large open-pit mining operations as the first step in the ore processing chain. If you enjoy this kind of stuff, you can watch the full crushing process, from dumping ore into the crusher, all the way to the huge stockpile where it's stored for the next stage. We also went underneath this massive crusher, walking through huge bunkers and tunnels, and you can check out that whole journey at the link in the top right corner. Don't miss it. You'll be amazed at what's hidden down there. A cheap and fast way to wash a grader. Kids, please, don't try this at home. Worth more than 30,000 euros, this DJI drone is equipped with a high-end camera and advanced sensors, getting ready to take off and scan the terrain in 3D. A highly efficient tool and quite a fascinating sight to watch. And a breathtaking panoramic view of our gold and copper mine. Truly an incredible sight. With last year's production of about 530 million pounds of copper and 16,500 pounds of gold, that's roughly 240,000 metric tons of copper and 7.5 metric tons of gold, this mine is considered one of the largest gold and copper mines in Europe. And when the rain comes, all production plans change in every mine, not just here. Trucks start slipping on the haul roads, sometimes getting stuck in the mud, and the power grid often collapses under the storm. But the best part of it all, ladies and gentlemen, is this: making a mini tsunami. I'll leave you to enjoy the next 7 minutes of the video. We've seen the interesting and harmless part after the rain, but now let's look at the dangerous side. And this one can get pretty risky when driving. So the first and only rule in these conditions is stay focused. That means no phones, don't spend too much time looking out the side windows, and always be well rested. Because once you lose control out here, all you can do is pray the vehicle stops on its own before hitting someone. Let's take a look. I'm doing my best to clear the mud with the grader, but sometimes it's just too risky to work in these conditions. I mean, trucks are sliding around like they're on ice. It's safer to just pull over and step aside and wait for the traffic to thin out. This guy's a genius. A clever way to get over the cable with a flat tire. And speaking of flat tires, this is what it looks like on a 140-ton truck, completely out of service. And not only that, it had to dump 220 metric tons of rich ore, about 484,000 pounds. A 30,000 euro tire gone just like that. Hard to believe, but this giant, with a total weight of 880,000 pounds or 400 metric tons and 2,500 horsepower, is struggling to make it up this slippery slope. From the footage, I'd say its rear tires look pretty worn out. Either way, the dozer and the grader are on standby, ready to jump in at any moment if things get worse. Now let's see if it can make it on its own. And this is the most powerful burnout I've ever seen in my life. Alright, now you're about to see what the start of a shift looks like for an excavator operator. From the moment he arrives at the machine, he does a full visual inspection, checking for cracks, making sure all the bucket teeth are in place, looking for any leaks, and checking fluid levels before he even starts loading trucks. This Terex RH120 is an old machine with plenty of leaks, so the operator really has to go over it carefully. If you've ever wondered what the inside of Chernobyl's infamous reactor number 4 looks like, now you're about to see it. Dude's looking for the elephant's foot. And to wrap things up, something truly rare to see in the world, and at the same time, so beautiful. Yes, what you're looking at are old Euclid R30 haul trucks, equipped with 12 V71 Detroit diesel engines and Allison automatic transmissions. They've been sitting in the same spot for more than 30 years, catching the eyes of drivers and passengers passing by. What's fascinating is that all of them have low mileage and are in surprisingly good condition. These beauties worked in a nearby mine until the early 1990s, when the mine shut down. Instead of selling them, the owner decided to park them by the roadside to be admired for their beauty. He says he still starts them up once a year, right before winter, just to keep the engines from seizing. He even mentioned someone once offered him 50,000 euros for each truck, but he flat out refused. And if you want to see the full video about these beauties, along with other old machines hidden behind the gas station, you can check it out by clicking the link in the top right corner. For now, I'll leave you to enjoy some true American classics. We'll see you at the end of the video. Well guys, we've reached the end of our 1-hour journey. I hope you enjoyed the video and got a glimpse of how things are done here. Of course, I'm sure some things weren't done perfectly, but there's always room for improvement. Don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to our channel. It really means a lot and we truly appreciate it. Until the next video, stay safe.